What's going on, YouTube fam? Hope everybody's having a great holiday. Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. So today's video, I want to get into something that I don't see too many YouTubers, well, nurses that are YouTubers talking about, especially from a male's perspective, a male nurse's perspective. What it's like working in a long-term care facility / rehab facility as a male nurse, a new grad male nurse at that. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I just want to give you all my take on why I quit my job, my new grad job, working as a nurse in the long-term care / rehab facility. So I graduated in September of 2024. Landed my first job around October 24th, actually was my start date. I worked at a long-term care. It was a health and rehab facility, but it was mostly long-term care patients. We had a trach and vent unit. It was a pretty big facility. And one of the reasons why I decided that this really wasn't for me is because more times than not, I would have anywhere between 25 and 35 patients on my assignment for that shift. Now, some people can get used to that. I'm a new grad, so I'm like, that's a lot, especially with the facility that I worked at. They only gave me 5 days of training. I mean, I picked up on it pretty quick, but I just feel like 5 days of training is a lot, and then boom, I'm out on my own with 30 patients, 30 plus patients. I didn't quite like that a lot, but I said, okay, let me try that. Let me see how it goes. So, needless to say, I worked there for about a month and maybe a half. It just wasn't for me. You know, I didn't feel safe in terms of my license, in terms of taking care of the patients. It was a lot of administrative things that I wasn't trained on because I only got 5 days of training. So if anything were to happen to where I had to do some type of paperwork or administrative work, I was expected, oh, well, just ask another nurse or just ask, you know, the night shift supervisor. And I'm like, I don't always want to have to ask, you know, for help with these little things. I'm like, just train me on it, you know. But they were just quick to try to get me on the floor, get me on the schedule. And I mean, that should have been a red flag, but it was a very nice facility, very clean. The patients were cool. The nurses overall were pretty good. It's just, I felt like they pushed me out there way too fast. The pay was pretty decent. Since I work night shift, of course, a lot of you that work as nurses night shift, especially, you get the shift differential. So I was getting, I want to say, 34 an hour. Not too bad. Most money I've ever made, you know, at any job. So I was like, okay. But over time, after working so many shifts, I was like, I don't think this is for me. One, I just felt like I was always pressured to move at a certain pace. And I just remember going through nursing school. I didn't become a nurse to basically, and this is no offense to anybody who works in nursing homes, long-term care facilities, but I didn't go to school to basically be a glorified pill pusher. You know what I'm saying? I felt like that's all I was doing, was just passing medication. Maybe an occasional wound dressing change, but mostly just passing medication, giving insulin. And that's not really what I became a nurse to do. You know, I wanted to actually spend time with patients. I wanted to actually get to know them, get to know their illnesses, learn about it, learn how to take care of them, and actually see improvement. I just felt like I was coming to work, not really making much of a difference, just giving people their medication. And that's kind of one of the turnoffs for me when I was working there. So that was that reason. And then another reason is, of course, the patient count. I just didn't feel safe with that many patients that I had to be responsible for. Because oftentimes I would get there at 7 o'clock, shift report, maybe 15, 20 minutes, depending on what was going on that night. Then had to go to the med room, get the medications, fill the drawers, then start med pass. Usually med pass, I would start around 7:45, at the latest 8 o'clock. And I wouldn't get done until 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. I had a problem with that because for those of you, you know, who know nursing, you know, you can give medication an hour before and an hour after the scheduled time. So I'm giving a lot of these people medication toward, you know, people that were towards the bottom of my list. I'm giving them their medication 2 to 3 hours after they were supposed to already have it. So I just didn't feel like that was safe. It was oftentimes I would get to the patient who was diabetic, and by the time I got to them around 10:30, 11 o'clock, their blood sugar was like 300. So I just didn't feel safe with that being, the normal. So that's the second reason why, I decided to quit. And also just the politics of it. No offense to the women out there, but it's like when you work with a lot of women, it's a lot of drama. It's a lot of gossip, people talking about each other behind their backs. And even though there were like 2 other male nurses on staff, who had a little bit of drama, but not too much. Overall, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad with the guys, but it was just way too much for me. I feel like as a new grad nurse, taking all that on. I mean, I learned a lot. Don't get me wrong. I learned a lot and everything was good for the most part. But, let me get some light in here. There we go. But I just didn't feel like it was a safe environment, safe situation. And it's not really who I wanted to be as a nurse. So I decided to go into home health care. So now that's what I'm doing right now is home health care. And I have to say I love it. I love the flexibility of it. I love the fact that I can actually take my time with my patients and I don't feel rushed. I get to talk to them. I get to know about their diagnoses. And it's just a very, very nice type of flow. I get to drive my car all day. I get to be outside because I'm usually in people's houses for maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Depends on what I'm doing. And then I'm done. I'll go to the next patient. But yeah, so if any of you, especially male nurses, are feeling like I don't really like this environment, but I feel like this is where the money is, there's money in home health care too. You just have to figure out, your flow and everything. I get paid per visit. I don't get paid hourly. So I feel like that's really nice because I can pick up as many patients as I want. I have no limit at my job now. And I can make as much money as I want, depending on what my availability is. So, I mean, it's something to think about. But yeah, I definitely do not regret jumping ship from nursing homes, long-term care facilities. I truly feel like it was a really good move. So that's all I wanted to say. I don't see a lot of nurses out here talking about, especially male nurses talking about, their experiences with negatively in terms of long-term health and what they may have done about that or anything. So I just wanted to put this video out here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you on the next one.